Welcome to If Mama Only Knew podcast, where we explore topics related to mental health, well being, and personal growth. Please note that while I, Anna, am a licensed therapist, the information and advice shared on this podcast are for educational and informational purposes only. The content provided here is not intended to replace or substitute for professional mental health services with a licensed professional. Thank you for listening, and remember to take care of yourself.
Hi everyone, welcome back to If Mama Only Knew podcast. This is Tatiana, one of your hosts.
This is Hannah, your other host.
And we are back for another episode. If you are watching, our setup is a little bit different this time. We're trying out some different stuff, so let us know how you guys like this setup compared to our other one. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Mom, how are you doing this week?
I am doing well. Let's see. I actually have a wheel of emotions pillow in my office, and we thought we would start like a wellness mental health check-in by starting with just checking in how we're feeling for the day. So today I am feeling proud. I am feeling proud because a little update. I think I shared last week that I was doing an October challenge, right? I am doing 10,000 steps a day. And so far we are, what's the date? The 14th. I have not missed one day. I have been reaching my goal and going over actually. I'm averaging like 15,000 steps a day, which has been great. So I am proud that I have, remained committed. Usually this is about the time that I fall off, and I haven't done that. So I am feeling proud of myself. And overall, things are going great. How about you, Tatiana? Here's a pillow.
So this is what the pillow looks like if you're watching. Let's see. It's the same. Today I'm feeling... I would say a little bit stressed. It is midterms, so I have some exams coming up. I have a lot of essays, presentations, so that has been a little stressful, but I've just been trying to like balance everything. Work and school, which has been a little bit tricky this week, but we're getting there and it's almost over. I feel like this week is going to be a little bit hectic, but then the weekend should be really fun. So yeah, I would say overall pretty stressed, but I'm handling it. It's not like the worst. So yeah, a little bit stressed.
Do you want to share what you're doing this weekend?
No, I'm just kidding. No, I already told you guys. I'm going to Universal Halloween Horror Nights, so I'm excited for that. I feel like I have not been out and about in a while. Like, I feel like I've really just been, like, working in, like, school, so I really haven't gone on, like, a trip out of town. Universal is about, like, 2 hours away from us, I want to say. So it should be a little drive down there. We're staying the night as well, so I'm really excited. So yeah, I'll let you guys know how it is. You guys can also follow like my TikTok. Maybe I'll like post on there, but yeah, I'm really excited for the weekend. This week is going to be a lot of hard work, but I know it'll be worth it, so I'm not stressing on the weekend. So yeah, that's how this week is going. Did you do anything fun over the weekend?
It's funny. I was thinking about my weekend and I couldn't remember what I did. And then I was like, well, why can't I remember what I did? And I think I'm noticing a pattern that I feel because you've been so busy and we spend so much time together. I think I'm noticing that I'm going through this like transitional period where I am kind of getting to know myself outside of the identity of being a mom. And I'm trying to figure out the things that I like to do on my own, just, by myself, versus like the things I like to do when I'm with you because we spend so much time together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm like still like in the process of kind of figuring out what that is, which means I'm not doing a whole lot. And so I think this is my sign to really like get out there and try new hobbies and, um, really try the things that I've always wanted to try. I think I've shared that I love to read. I'm almost done with the last book of a series that I've been reading. And so I'm really excited about that. This book is like 700 pages long. And so I'm almost done and I'm excited about that. And after I'm done with that, I think I'm going to start looking into starting a new hobby. I think I'm going to start picking up crocheting. Remember when I bought the
Mm-hmm.
whole,
Mm-hmm.
like the
Mm-hmm.
kit and I just never really um, finished anything. So I think I'm going to pick that up again. And then if you guys have any other ideas of hobbies, things you can do indoors, let me know because I'm open to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, all I did was I stayed home and I read my book and watch a couple TV shows. I started watching Monsters, which is a series on Netflix about the Menendez brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty interesting. I always feel like I gravitate towards anything having to do with like really complicated, like chaotic storylines and just like based off of true real life stories. And this is a really interesting series. So once I finish it, maybe we can talk a little bit about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all I've been doing. What about you?
Um, Same kind of thing. I would say just work. This weekend, and then we did a little shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we went to a couple stores. Um, got some like fall kind of clothes, some
Mm-hmm.
hoodies, some sweats, that type of thing. It's definitely like feeling like fall, so I'm
Yeah,
really
it
liking
is.
that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's about it. Just work, did a little shopping. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. I feel like we're so boring.
Yeah,
It's
I
always
have not been
work, work.
interesting lately.
Yeah.
But I feel like we have a lot of exciting things coming
Coming
up,
up. Yeah,
so
definitely.
we won't be boring
Yeah.
anymore. But
Yeah.
yeah, today we wanted to talk about a couple Reddit stories that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
We were really talking about the like the Reddit um what is it called?
The Am I the Asshole
Yeah.
thread.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the thread. So we found a couple stories. So we kind of just wanted to like read those, see what you guys think about them, get each other's reactions. We picked, I think I picked two, you picked one or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and read them and then see how that goes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Reddit is like, it's like,
It's crazy.
yes, I tend to go on these rabbit holes and the stories are insane. So do you want to get started?
Yes. Am I the asshole for cutting ties with my mom and grandma after they lied about a COVID test and caused a COVID super spreader at our wedding?
Oh my gosh.
Mm. Okay. My mom and grandma lied about a COVID test, and as a result, 1/3 of our guests are sick, our honeymoon was ruined, and my relationships with both women may be ruined. Apologies in advance to the long post. I'm really struggling emotionally to process and move past the events of the last week and a half. Surrounding our October 5th wedding. Oh, so it was just like, it was just,
It was just, it
happened.
just happened.
Yeah. So, not sure what I'm looking for other than a platform just to get all this out there and let you guys know what really happened. We just got back from our honeymoon in Mexico, which we spent a year saving for, which was ruined
Oh
after we tested
no.
positive for COVID while on a trip as a result of the decisions my mom and grandma made, which I'll detail below. About a year ago, my maternal grandma asked her cousin to officiate our wedding without asking me first. This was someone with whom I had no relationship and had only met once prior. I had no desire for him to officiate our wedding, but went along with it because in our family, our grandma gets what grandma wants,
Oh my
or there's
gosh.
hell to pay. In fact, if you cross her, she will cry in her room, post something nasty about you on Facebook, and then write you off until you apologize, even if you've done nothing wrong. Okay, fast forward to 1 week before our wedding. We learned that the cousin slash our officiant and his wife had been exposed to COVID and they were on their way to my grandma's house to stay for the week leading up to the wedding. My out of state parents and brother were staying there as well, and my dad and brother made the decision to get out of there to avoid getting sick and came to stay with my fiance and me. We all voiced our concerns and made it clear to my mom and grandma that it was a bad idea to host people who had tested positive for COVID or who been ex- had COVID exposure a few days before our wedding and were met with the most pathetic display of immaturity and selfishness by my grandma and mother. My grandma started crying and saying they
Oh
would all
no.
boycott our wedding if we were that worried about COVID, which in 2024 is just a cold, they said. Absolutely zero attempt was made to acknowledge our concerns about public health at our own event. Anyway, my fiance and I insisted that both our officiant and his wife would take a rapid COVID test before we would allow them to come to the wedding. I contacted the venue and had a backup officiant lined up. I personally gave my mom two rapid tests and asked her to make sure both the officiant and his wife tested negative on Friday morning, the day of the rehearsal dinner. My mom texted me, the lepers are clean? What the fuck? What does that
I
mean?
don't
Okay,
know.
I don't know. I called her and asked point blank, Mom, do you swear that both the officiant and his wife tested negative? And she swore to me that they had. So I called the venue and canceled the backup officiant, and we went ahead with the wedding weekend. Everything went perfectly. Our wedding was everything I dreamed of. The only tainted memories I will carry with me forever are the ones of my grandma acting cold and standoffish to me at our rehearsal dinner the entire wedding day because I had the audacity to insult her. I'll never forget the way she treated me. Fast forward to Monday after the wedding, we were headed to the airport to fly to Mexico for a honeymoon and caught wind from my grandma that had come down with a cold. I told her to make sure she tested for COVID, as that would be an obvious assumption for anyone with two brain cells. We landed in Mexico and were just happy to be there to enjoy. Then all hell broke loose. We found
Oh
out while
no.
in Mexico that my grandma had hosted my grandparents' dad's side for dinner the night we left while actively symptomatic, and they were both now positive for COVID. Then the truth slowly started to come to light, and we learned that my mom had lied to me about our officiant and his wife testing negative. Only our officiant had tested. His wife had the sniffles, and they knew if she had tested positive, I'd throw a wrench in their plans, so they just didn't test her. I got more upset than ever that I've ever been in my life and texted my mom that we were feeling completely betrayed and that the very least my grandma owes an apology to me, my dad, and his parents for getting them sick. In return, I got a screenshot from my brother showing me that my grandma texted him, "Tell your sister when I die she can put selfish bitch who ruined my
Oh my
honeymoon on my
God.
headstone." All in all, 26 people are sick, more than one thirds of our guests. Some are very severely ill. My dad has it the worst. He called me last night to ask how to know it's time to go to the hospital for breathing. Oh my gosh. My mom is denying that she lied. My grandma is texting the entire family trying to get them on her side. And I'm being told I'm overreacting because I'm brainwashed by the leftist media. Oh my
Oh my
God.
gosh.
I had a meltdown on our honeymoon and just sobbed into my new husband's lap for an hour. I don't know how to move past this or whether I even want to speak to my mom or grandma again. I feel like COVID aside, they chose to prioritize their own experience at the expense of nearly 30 people, including us, the wedding couple. I will never forget this betrayal, and I just don't know what to do. I'm mourning the aftermath of my own wedding.
Oh my gosh, that's a
Dang.
lot.
Dun,
Okay,
dun, dun.
so
Mm-mm.
what do you think? Like, this is a mess.
Mm,
So, what would you have
first of
done?
all, um, first of all, I would definitely demand to see those COVID tests.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be like, no, I would not take their word, no matter who they are. Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing those COVID tests. If you're coming to my wedding, first of all, I
Yeah.
don't even know you that well.
Yeah.
You're already coming to my wedding. No, you're gonna show proof of those negative COVID tests.
Mm-hmm.
If not, you're not going. And if you're symptomatic, like, wear a mask.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
But, like, okay, think about it. What if you were getting married and grandma
mhm.
had COVID? I mean, first of all, to clarify, my mom wouldn't do this because my mom totally believes COVID is real because it is. And
Mhm.
she would be totally, like, respectful of this. However, if she wasn't, this is just for the sake of this argument. If grandma was sick and she didn't want to miss your wedding and she kind of gave you fake test results or told you that she tested negative and then you learned that she was positive, what would you do?
I mean, what can you do if that shit already happened?
Yeah.
Like, if it already came, like, what can you do? Like, what can you do? You can't do anything.
Yeah.
So I think that, yeah, that's a hard, thing to say. But was the grandma sick or was it just the friends? I think it was just the friends that
Well,
got
yeah, but
everyone
she
else
was
sick.
exposed, right?
Yeah.
And I think
Mm-mm.
also it comes down to like, and this is something you and I have talked about where we feel like sometimes elderly people tend to have this like sense of entitlement because they're older, right? And there's this idea that like I am, your grandmother, I am your uncle, aunt, whatever it is, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm older, like you have to respect me, right? And it's like sometimes people really do feel entitled. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think that plays a factor in this story?
Yeah, I do because I think, I don't know their, details of like, their family, but like what she like said, I think that there's always this thing around, respecting your elders and, no matter what, they're right. And it's kind
Mm-hmm.
of just like
Mm-hmm.
they're, older than you and they have the right, they're older. So just
Mm-hmm.
let it be, whatever. But no, at some point, and I think this generation is kind of like
Yeah.
standing for that because it's just like, I think respect is earned in like
Yes.
any situation. And like, I know that is going to be our generation. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I know it
Mm-hmm.
might be different for millennials, for
Yeah.
the older generations. Obviously, it really is different. But I think that our generation is very set on like respect is earned no
Mm-hmm.
matter who you are, no
Yeah.
matter if you're an elder, no matter if you're like a teacher, if you're a parent. Well, yeah, if you're a parent, if you're literally anyone, respect should be earned and like treat people how you want to be treated, like
Yeah.
the golden rule, honey bunch. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if you're gonna be playing games, you're not gonna get like nice goody back.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna get not necessarily like something like fucking rude
Disrespected.
and
Yeah.
disrespectful, but you're gonna get, the truth. And I just think a lot of people expect you to be quiet if you're
Mm-hmm.
younger and, not say anything and not speak up just because you're older.
Yeah.
But no, I think treat people how you want to be treated and
Yeah.
you're not just gonna sit there and let things happen. So I think
Yeah.
a big part is, speaking up. And it's hard because it is your family. That's your wedding day. You
Mm-hmm.
want them to be there and it's
Mm-hmm.
hard. But I
Yeah.
think at some point you gotta speak up a little
Yeah.
bit more.
No, and I think also like let's normalize people setting boundaries and especially for a major life event like a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is such a personal and intimate thing between two people that are
Yeah.
choosing to get married that like having opinions from family and having that sense of entitlement is something that is very toxic, and we need to, um, you know, stop doing that. People take it so personal, parents take it so personal, and they make it about themselves when their child is getting married, that it blows my mind. So don't be that person. In this case, I don't think this person was the asshole.
Yeah.
I think they were honestly too
Definitely
nice.
not. Yeah, I think you had the right to be the asshole,
Yeah.
but
It's your day. People
exactly.
spend thousands of dollars on weddings, and then it's ridiculous for people to assume that the people paying for it are not going to be the ones making that decision, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely.
So yeah, we're on the side. She is not.
She is not the asshole.
Okay,
But before we go to the next story, let's go ahead and take a break.
okay.
And then we'll come back.
Yeah, so we'll be right back.
Okay, and we are back.
All right, so we're gonna move on to our next story. So I think you have one, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So
Okay. Am I the asshole for kicking out my roommate because of her hygiene?
No,
Girl.
okay.
Okay.
Before we start, I don't play about hygiene.
Yeah, we don't.
So obviously, we all have our moments, but I think,
Speak for yourself, girly.
girl, let me not go there. No, I'm just
No, okay.
No,
She's joking. I, 23 female, have a roommate who is 18 female who has zero respect for personal hygiene. We've been living together for 4 months and I can't stand living with her anymore. She doesn't shower. In 4 months, she hasn't showered once. However, she goes on 2-hour runs every morning. I can't stand the smell anymore. It makes me sick to my stomach.
Pause.
This is
We
insane.
haven't showered in 4 months.
In 4 months.
And we go on a run every morning.
She goes on a run every morning.
No, exactly.
For 2 hours. Yes. I know. First I was thinking, is she depressed? Like, because sometimes when you're depressed, you know, your hygiene kind of suffers. But she is running for 2 hours a day. So, okay, let's continue. I tried talking to her about it, but she just brushes it off. I don't really know what to say to her anymore. Last week, I told her that I can't stand the way she smells and how the apartment smells because of her. So she either showers or I'll have to evict her. The fact that the apartment has smells is insane.
That's crazy. Not
Yeah.
the smell lingering.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Obviously, nothing changed. So this morning, I contacted the landlord. I explained the situation and asked him if we can evict her. He came over and the second he stepped in, I could see him trying not to throw up. He called her and told her that she has 30 days to move out or she will be removed by force. Wow, like, this is insane.
I mean, hey, I'm glad the landlord is like,
It's on the same page.
Let's get her out of here.
My roommate is furious and hasn't stopped calling me names. I don't think I'm in the wrong here, but a couple of people told me that I'm being inconsiderate, and having her evicted so close to Christmas is not a good thing. And this is also the last year of college, so there's a lot going on. She has finals and all sorts of things. So what should I do? Am I the asshole?
Okay. First of all, like, okay, obviously we don't know, like, who these people are, like, but I think we should all be showering every day.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, especially if you're going on a 2-hour run every day, I don't know. Like, I have a hard time believing this is true.
Yeah, you think it's a lie? You think
Like,
people are exaggerating?
Not showering for 4 months, like.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, again, like I mentioned in the beginning, like sometimes people go through depressive episodes, and obviously depression is a very real and serious thing, and it affects motivation, it affects hygiene. Sometimes it also impacts just your overall self-care. So that can happen. However, when you lack the motivation, typically you lack the motivation for everything generally. In this case, it sounds like this person that's not the case because they
Yeah,
are
if you
still
have
active.
motivation to go on a 2-hour run every
Yes.
morning, why are we not showering?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are we brushing it off when someone's bringing it to you?
Yeah.
Why do we not want to shower?
Yeah. So, I mean, do you think that evicting her is extreme though?
No.
Okay,
I'm
you
sorry,
think
like
it's
me, I have like really strong like sensory like issues. So when
mhm.
I smell something that I cannot stand,
Mhm.
especially if this is going on like month after
Yeah.
month, like I'm sorry, like if you've already tried to talk to them about it, like no. I think I can only like imagine the smells that were going on.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I don't think that's too extreme. I think I can feel sympathy for someone and I
Mhm.
can be empathetic and I can really feel for
Mhm.
them and be like, I'm
Mhm.
sorry, yeah, close to holidays, but sometimes you got to put me first. Like, you got to
Yeah.
put yourself first
Yeah.
and like,
Yeah.
you know, having a pungent smell
Yeah.
every day, like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's going to be affecting you. Like, what
Yeah.
are you going to do? Like, go like walk around like
Yeah.
plugging your nose,
Yeah.
like wear a mask? Like, no. Like,
I
I
think
think that's
most
crazy.
people would struggle to even say something to begin with,
Yeah,
right?
because it's
Because
like,
it can be
it's
embarrassing.
rude. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's like rude to like, I think we all have had our moments where we're out in public and we smell someone's body odor. And I know
Mhm.
we would go to hot yoga and we'd,
Oh, girl, I have stories for hot
and we'd
yoga.
smell, a lot of smells in there. I know we're all sweating in hot yoga. So that's just something different. But,
What's that ingredient or chemical in deodorant that people don't like?
oh, like the titanium? Or no, is it?
Is it aluminum?
Aluminum, yeah, not
Yes.
titanium.
I saw a TikTok
Aluminum
and
free.
someone said, bring back and normalize you having aluminum and
And okay,
deodorant.
I know
And
there are
okay, that's
some
crazy.
aluminum deodorants
Yeah.
that people like and do work, but I don't trust that. Like aluminum,
Aluminum free?
I
Yeah.
think it's even been like proven that aluminum isn't even like bad for you.
Oh,
I
really?
think like I think it's not even like bad, but
Don't quote us,
I use an
but
aluminum
research on your
deodorant.
own.
I don't fuck with that native
Oh,
deodorant.
that
That
brand?
one, I've tried it. It does not
It
work
doesn't
for
work.
me. No,
Yeah.
I use
Yeah.
Dove. That's what
You know,
works.
growing up, I
But
remember like my mom would always say, like, when she was growing up, like she, was, financially wasn't always stable and she struggled, to afford food, let alone deodorant. But she's like, there are natural ways of making deodorant at home. And so she had this recipe and she's like, I forget what it was. It was
like
like lemon with
lemon,
like
maybe baking soda. Maybe
baking
not
soda. I don't
baking
know. It was
soda. Like
something. I have
that
to
would
ask her.
sting.
I have to ask her, but they are natural
Yeah,
ways to
yeah.
still be clean and not smell, right? And I understand people have different like opinions and lifestyles
Yeah, exactly.
and
Like
to
we
each
get
their
you want
own.
to be
Absolutely.
clean, natural products. We get it, but
Absolutely.
I think there's a way to still
Especially when you share space with someone, I think having a roommate
just
and
being
having,
considerate.
yeah, having
Yeah.
consideration, I think is really important. Which reminds me, I used to work somewhere and we used to share space, and there were like five of us in one office space, and the office was pretty small. And there was one coworker in
It was
particular
stinky.
who BO
Ew,
was
I hate.
so strong. And she was like a really pretty like lady who always had, her makeup done, her hair. She dressed really well, really nice. She on the outside was very well put together,
Mm-mm.
but just her BO was super strong. And I remember like a couple people brought it up and they're like, what do we do? Do we tell her? Do we let her know? Do you think she knows? Because sometimes, people have stress
No.
sweat, right?
Yeah.
And they don't notice
I
it, I
get the
guess.
stress sweat. I think one of my
But you never
biggest
smell.
fears, that's why one of my biggest fears is smelling bad. You know,
Yeah.
like, what is it called? Like the walking by air? Like when you smell someone's walking by
Oh
air,
gosh.
like it either smells good, like that
Mhm.
perfume, like that
Mhm.
deodorant, whatever they're wearing, or it either smells like BO and
Yeah.
onion. So once
Not onion.
like onion, like once I start smelling onion, I'm sorry. Like
Okay, onion's crazy, but I
once I
get
start
what you're
smelling
saying.
onion and mildew,
Oh no.
I can't do it. But yeah, I carry a spray deodorant everywhere I go. Like
Yeah.
I can't. Like I think, and I've experienced stress sweat.
Yeah.
I stress sweat, and we all know stress sweat smells 10 times worse than regular sweat. I don't know what that is, but yeah, like I just think that we all have our moments.
Yeah.
You know, we get it. You don't know anyone's backstory. You don't know anyone's life, but I think
Yeah.
it's hard, and sometimes people are genuinely not aware of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the
Being
idea
kind
of,
and
yeah,
communication goes a long way.
it's how you go about it. And
Yeah.
I think making fun of someone is not the right way, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it can obviously be hard too on ways to bring it up, because I feel like it's a difficult conversation anyway you bring it up. So it's going to be awkward for them now. It's going to be awkward for you. So I think it's just,
Yeah.
but I think it's good to make people aware, because sometimes you don't know if they're not aware.
Yeah.
So
It is good to make people aware. And I think coming from a place of like love and consideration goes a long way.
Yeah.
So in this case, I don't think I would have told my roommate, like, hey, you stink, get the fuck out. Right? I think I
Ooh.
would have said, like, hey, girl, like, I've noticed. Myself, personally, I would have checked in first and I would have said, hey, girl, are you okay? Is everything okay? Like, I've noticed that, like, you know, you're really not taking care of your hygiene. Like, what's up? Like, is everything okay? Like, I would approach her from that angle, like, to make sure that she's okay. And then, depending on her response, then I would know how to proceed. But ultimately, if we are sharing space together, what you do, how you smell, ultimately impacts me, right? So I think also being mindful of, you know, expressing a concern is important, right?
yeah. And I think, can we touch like on the fact that I don't want to I saw this on TikTok, guys, okay? And I'm not going to sit here and like I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Okay, I saw this thing on TikTok. It was that not all, but some white people do not use loofahs, washcloths,
Oh,
nets. They don't wash their legs or feet.
that there are cultural differences and that people bathe and clean themselves differently depending on their cultural background.
Yeah. So I didn't know that there was people out here
That didn't use a
that
loofah
don't
or
use a loofah,
washcloth.
washcloth, African net sponge.
I actually
anything.
saw that and I was like, this has to be satire. It cannot be real. It was, I think, a podcast and they were
Yeah.
talking about it and it was, they were
They were like, "What's a
two
washcloth?" or
two
something
white
like that.
podcasters, I think, and they the clip was like, oh, using washcloths are for poor people, and I had to
Oh,
do
yeah.
I was like,
I
excuse
was
me, like
okay, what? And then they were like, "So what do you use or something?" And then they were like, "Oh, like I just rubbed the soap all over my body with my
no,
hands."
immediately no.
And first, I think they were talking about like the bar soap too. So just rubbing the bar soap on your body, and they're like, "What happens? Like now the bar soap is
oh,
all
I
dirty."
just got the chills
They're like,
thinking about
now
that.
the bar soap is all
Yeah.
dirty, and then they're like, "No, because it's soap. How can soap get dirty?" La
Yeah.
la la. And then they were like, "Yeah, like I don't wash my legs either. Like I just let the water
Girl.
from the top go down my legs.
No,
and wash
immediately
my
no.
feet." And I'm like, okay.
I know we're going on a tangent, but like this is relevant. Like, have you seen those clips where moms are like, we only shower like once a week because if the kid goes in the pool or if they, you know, I don't know, like go out and play in the water or if it rains, it like just.
I think like they said we share a razor or something.
Oh,
or
no.
I think
Immediately
they said
no.
something. The mom said, "Yeah, we only shower once a week. The kids go in the pool. That's their shower." Like, I'm like, what? Like,
Okay, since we're talking about hygiene, let's quickly go down the list of no's. So, crazy things I've heard: couple sharing a toothbrush, immediately no. Under no circumstances. I don't care if I forgot my toothbrush. I'm gonna
No.
use my finger mouthwash.
yeah, I
and
remember like
a toothpick.
throwback-
I don't know.
No. I remember throwback, like when I would go visit my grandma, like out of town, not my maternal grandma, but my
Your paternal grandma.
And, like, for instance, like, if I would forget my toothbrush one day and, like, we didn't have time to get it, like, that night, she would be like, no, like, you guys are taking, like, a washcloth or something. You guys are taking a
Yeah.
toothpaste. And you guys are still going to brush your teeth. Like, no.
Yeah.
We're not doing none of that. We're not sharing toothbrushes.
Yeah.
We're not brushing our teeth.
Yeah.
Like, no. So, it was...
I think that's where I see like the most things in common with your two grandmothers, that they don't play about being clean and having good hygiene. I think you learned that from both sides, that you got to be clean.
And
so
it's sad for the people who didn't learn that. And, you know, that's how we know people were raised differently and raised in different cultures and raised in different ways, because some people weren't raised to, like, you know, be mindful of their own hygiene, know how to take care of themselves, know how to clean themselves. So some people are, you know, walking around. And I think that's the beautiful part of social media and TikTok, because there's these, you know, influencers or, you know, these TikTok threads that will be like, I'm your big sister, like, I'm going to teach you. No one taught you how to, you know, clean yourself. No one taught you how to do, like, a good hygiene routine. Like, I'm here to show you, like, my hygiene routine. And I think that's the good part of social media. And there are people out there who are truly there to, like, teach you and like not be
shame you.
judgmental. And I think
really
that's
teach
amazing.
You.
But yeah, there's a way to go about something. So I think it's just about being kind and
definitely. But go back to the non-negotiables and like the list. I think sharing a toothbrush is a no. Sharing deodorant is a no, with the exception of it being a spray deodorant. Then that's fine, because you're not touching your body while you're applying it. What's another thing? Bar soaps, no, we don't share that either. We don't share loofahs. You have to have a loofah. No sharing razors. You have to have a loofah. You have to have a washcloth. You have to have something. I will not feel clean if I don't scrub myself with something, right?
That's
like
crazy.
That is crazy to me.
How rough are our hands? Like how rough are our hands that we're cleaning ourselves with our hands? So I think that we need to reevaluate that and give it a try. If you're not using a loofah, African net sponge, washcloth, anything like that,
try it. It's life changing.
Give it a try and see how much dirt comes off.
For real.
I also saw this thing, you know, like the spray tan community. I saw this girl. It was like this white girl. She's like, oh, I just got a spray tan. And I just found out that people are not showering and they're not like they're not scrubbing themselves because they want their spray tans to last. Because you don't need a spray tan. Like,
I've never gotten a spray tan in my life.
I'm like, me neither. But I guess if you
have
seen the videos of like people getting spray tans, like I guess you can't like scrub your body or like shower the first night.
Immediately no.
So I think these girls are just not washing their bodies. They're just like, I think, letting the water drip, and they're just not even using soap, nothing. Like they're just letting water run on their bodies.
Oh no.
Like at this point, spray tan is not worth it. Come on, girls.
No, it's
not. Come on.
Yeah, that's intense. So anyway, back to this story.
Not the asshole. I think that what it looks like from the story, she went about it the right way. I think that she tried to bring it up to her. I'm seeing what I'm hearing. The roommate was brushing it off. I think that we don't know, obviously, how she went about it when it came to her getting a landlord involved. But, I mean, if the landlord even went in there and smelled something pungent, then I think...
I mean, especially a roommate, I'm thinking, okay, they are 22 and 18. If I live with an 18-year-old, I would hope that I know, like, her family, like, her parents maybe, like, her family, whoever. I know not everybody has, you know, a family that they're close to and connected to, but I would go down the list. Maybe if I know her mom, if there is a mom involved, like, I'd probably call her and be like, hey, come check on your daughter, like, what's going on here, right? Because who knows? Again, it could be something else that she's dealing with, but ultimately, I don't think she's the asshole for wanting to have a place that doesn't smell terrible.
And then too, like, if you have friends over, like friends coming over, family coming over, and you're smelling something and it's like, what if they think it's you? Like, this is how you're running your household, girl? Like, no. So I think it's just being considerate to the people around you and being obviously mindful of that person's feelings, going about it in a nice way. But if it's a situation where it's like the podcast people, they're like, oh, washcloths are for poor people.
Yeah, that was crazy
then,
to me.
What's going on?
Yeah.
But, so yeah, conclusion, she is not the asshole, I think. So that's my opinion. Okay. Am I the asshole for kicking out my dad's girlfriend after she made a comment about me being racist because I wear a bonnet when I sleep?
Wait, say that again?
Am I the asshole for kicking out my dad's girlfriend after she made a comment about me being racist because I wear a bonnet when I sleep? Yes, this is as dumb as the title sounds.
Okay, tell us more, because I don't think I get it.
Said.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's a little bit shorter, so we'll go through it. For some context, I'm white, I have super thin, curly hair, and every time I go to sleep, I wake up with the worst bedhead. I mean, giant knots in my hair sticking up in all different directions, and super frizzy. My best friend is black, and she thinks it's hilarious how crazy it looks sometimes. I told her over the summer that I was really tired of how unmanageable my bedhead is, and for my birthday, she recently got me a bonnet. She wears one to bed every night, so she thought it would help my bedhead. Oh boy, does it. I don't know how exactly it does it, but okay, I think they're the ones who worded that wrong.
Yeah.
But anyway, but my bedhead was wildly improved since I started wearing my bonnet. Way less frizzy, and I rarely get knots anymore. Now to the problem. My dad and his girlfriend came to visit me recently, and his girlfriend, who is also white, saw me wearing my bonnet. I just want to say, I literally just met this lady. My dad has a new girlfriend every time I see him, so this woman is nearly a complete stranger. When she saw me wearing my bonnet, she went off on me. She called me racist, and she said I was culturally appropriating headwear. I tried to explain to her that wearing a bonnet isn't a racial thing. It's a hair texture thing. Apparently, this was somehow me invalidating her beliefs or some shit, and she got very emotional. To prove my point, I called my best friend and put her on speaker and asked if she felt like me wearing a bonnet was racist. She was just laughing her ass off at my question. My dad's girlfriend stormed out of my apartment and went to cool off. When she got back, she apologized for storming off and told me I owed her an apology. I asked for what? She said I hurt her feelings. I refused. I told her to get her shit and get out of my apartment. My dad said he was disappointed by my behavior, and I told him to get out too. Ultimately, they cut their visit short. Now I've literally been getting texts nonstop from my dad telling me to apologize to her and saying that I've broken her heart. I'm probably the asshole for this part, but I told him not to worry and that I'll just apologize to his next girlfriend with the white savior complex. I told this to my mom, and as much as she hates my dad, she said it was a bit uncalled for me to just kick him and his girlfriend out of my apartment and on the street. I don't know, though. I don't feel badly at all. Am I the asshole?
Okay, so this is a white girl who's wearing a bonnet to go to bed because she has curly hair, and her black friend gifted her that bonnet. So dad has this white girlfriend who called the girl a racist and said she was culturally appropriating because she's wearing a bonnet to bed. Okay, got it. What do you think?
I mean, I don't think you're the asshole. I think a quote-unquote allies can be very, like, problematic and think they're doing something when they're not.
Who would be the ally in this situation?
I mean, the girlfriend.
Girlfriend.
I mean, I think they're both probably allies, but I think, or the girlfriend thinks she is. But I think that, I don't know. I think it is a texture thing. Obviously, bonnets are very, very, like, they're in, black culture. Like, for our hair type, we wear bonnets. And I think that it was a thing that it was kind of like rising in the like last in the past year or like in the past couple months where people who were not black started wearing bonnets, and I think it was a thing that it was like a big debate on like whether that is, you know, okay, whether it's not. In my opinion, I think that if you want to wear a bonnet, wear a bonnet. Like if you're wearing a bonnet, like, you know, out in public, I think, you know, okay, like whatever. I don't think that's necessarily necessary.
For someone who's
But
white or just anyone in general?
I think I don't
Like the
know.
public.
I don't know. I don't want to get canceled. But I just think
Well,
that
this pertains to you, so you can actually say whatever you want.
I just think, like I said, anyone can wear a bonnet. Like, wear a bonnet if you want. But I think, yeah, anyone can wear a bonnet. That's my point on it. Yeah, I don't care. I think she's right. Like, it's a hair texture thing. And if it's going to help your hair, like, silk pillowcase, bonnet, like,
Yeah.
whatever. Whatever works for you.
Do you think you would feel the same? I know this is not what they're talking about, but do you think you would feel the same if it was like a hairstyle?
Well, hairstyle is different.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's like a whole other story.
Yeah.
But no, like if you're over here pin straight hair and you're like white girl wearing box braids, if you're wearing fucking goddess braids, if you're wearing like
Not
all this
right.
shit, then I'm
Yeah.
sorry, like no. And then your hair's gonna fall out too, and we told
Yeah.
you, so bye.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, before we do the last story, let's go ahead and take another quick break, and we will be right back.
And they calling me Bob, 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 Bob. All right, we're back from our break. I just
We are
needed
back.
a little bit of water. So, yeah, we have our last Reddit story that we're going to be going over. So, Mom, do you want to
Okay.
do the honors?
Yes. So, am I the asshole because I reported my roommate for neglecting his dog?
Not the dog. I didn't know this was the story.
No, but it's not like, just listen to the story. I have a roommate who is a male and who is 33 years old. We'll call him Jay. Jay has neglected his dog for the past 9 months. His dog is suffering and so are the roommates. His dog is a large, high energy and social breed. The dog has lost a lot of weight and he won't eat if Jay isn't home. He is left outside for days at a time, or he's locked in his small, tiny room for days. Sometimes he wallows around in his own filth, and he seems lonely as hell. 9 months ago, Jay started dating a new girl. It started with him slowly being home less and less, which we all saw normal because it was a new relationship. Then he slowly stopped coming home and rely on the 3 roommates to take care of his dog, meaning like feeding him, taking him out on walks, etc. At first, no one minded helping because it was only 1 to 2 days a week, but over time it became 3 and now it's up to 5 times a week or 5 days a week. Luckily, we all love the dog, so we don't mind helping. We decided to pull him aside and talk to him and let him know about the situation that we feel it's unfair for the dog. Of course, he took offense to it and he felt that the solution to the problem was to take the dog to daycare. Now, fast forward a few months gone by and he's back to bringing the dog home and he's back to leaving up to 5 times a week. We're getting desperate now, and we've talked to his girlfriend and his mom, but they seem to not be able to do anything about it. Here's the issue. The dog is an emotional support animal, so the landlord told us he cannot do much about it. Now, Jay, after we talked to the landlord and we got him involved, Jay now tries to come home at least twice a week for at least 5 minutes, takes him out on a walk, feeds them, and then he puts him back in the room. He has been pooping and peeing in the room, so needless to say, the room in the house is filthy and it smells really bad. We feel really bad for the dog because we feel he needs socialization and he needs exercise, and he's just being neglected. Um, we are sick of the smell, the aggression of the dog, and the noise. I'm not getting any sleep because of the smell that comes from the room and the barking. We've been afraid to pull the trigger because we know what he's like, and we are afraid of what he may do if we do call animal control. Um, am I the asshole if I decide to pull the trigger and call animal control and get his dog taken away? What do
No.
you think?
Mm-mm.
So this guy is totally neglecting his dog.
Yeah, they're not the assholes. He is, because he's like neglecting his dog just because he got like a fucking new girlfriend. Like,
Yeah.
hello, take the dog with you.
This is so upsetting to me because, first of all, we're like dog owners. We
And,
can't
like,
even imagine. And it's just simple human decency to
Yeah.
care for an animal, right?
And it's like, dogs don't ask to be your dogs.
Exactly.
You either purchase this dog, you adopt this dog because you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So these dogs are your responsibility, and they're an animal. They don't know how to feed themselves. They don't know how to fucking do all that shit. Like, so it's your responsibility, and I hate people who do that. Like,
Yeah. And also, this is supposed to be an emotional support animal. So why is he not providing the function that he is claiming to be there to provide?
Like,
So this guy got this dog as an emotional support animal, meaning he needs the dog in order to regulate his emotions or obtain the whatever the support is. And so if he's leaving the dog most of the week home alone, he's not providing any support, which makes me even question the validity of this being an emotional support animal to begin with.
I think that he needs to get a grip. Like, no, you need to be home with your dog.
Yeah.
Like, take it to the girlfriend's house. You can still be with your girlfriend. Like, it's obviously not the girlfriend's fault, but like, come on, like, get with the program. Like, really, you're just gonna be neglecting your dog. Your room smells like shit. The house smells like shit and pee. You're not like walking your dog. Your dog's losing weight. Your dog's not eating when you're not there. Like, you're like, no.
I wouldn't even be writing this letter. I would just be reporting him, or I would honestly talk to him. And I don't know if this person's in the position to take over the dog, but I would even say, like, look, it sounds like you can't care for your dog anymore. Can I take over? Can I care for him? Can I adopt him?
And then, like, the part where he's like, we know how he is. Like, if we bring it. So, like, how is he? Like, is he, like...
Probably aggressive or unhinged in some way.
He's gonna crash out.
Yeah. This is really unfortunate.
Yeah, that's sad. And I think that they should have been called the
they should have called
services.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a protective animal services.
But I think there is. Well, they said animal control here.
Yeah. So.
Because I think they didn't mention the breed, but I can imagine because it said it's a larger breed and they are high energy.
Mm-hmm. So maybe like German Shepherd, Golden Doodle, Pit Bull, mix, big dog.
Regardless of what it is,
it's sad.
Obviously the dog is being neglected, and just don't be a shitty person.
Thing. Yeah, like obviously, like not like child abuse, but I think it's like if you like abuse, like obviously children, like I'm not comparing animals to children at all, but I think too, like if you abuse children, animals, anyone in general, like you're a horrible person. Yeah. So. No, you're not the asshole.
You're not the asshole at all.
Think that he's in the wrong.
Yeah, he is in the wrong. I can't even imagine, which makes me miss Chewy. I can't even imagine. Not. Yeah. But... So before you get a dog, and it reminds me, the holidays are coming up, and a lot of parents get their kids a pet for Christmas or for the holidays, whatever you celebrate. Think about it twice. And I never understood this.
A lot of responsibility.
It is a big responsibility.
And I think that people don't realize that, and they just think, oh, it's a little dog. When it's a puppy, like, oh, so cute. But no, like, it's a big responsibility. I mean, I firsthand seen it. My stepdad, he does a lot of the work with our dog. And we definitely do slack sometimes, but we're thankful to have him. But yeah.
We slack in the sense that we don't volunteer to do the things that, like, my husband does. Because obviously if he wasn't
like
around to do it.
Early, like early to walk
Yeah.
him, because if you guys knew our
Yeah.
dog, like he
He
wants
is
to go
so
on a walk
spoiled.
like
He goes on
5
like
a.m.
30 walks a day.
But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely just take into consideration how much responsibility
Mm-hmm.
a dog truly is, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not just this cute little thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot, and I
Yeah.
think that it's worth it to definitely like train your dog, crate train your dog.
Mm-hmm. Just train your dog, period.
Yeah.
And I think it's, this concept of gifting a dog for Christmas again or for the holidays is,
It's a tricky thing.
it's a tricky thing.
Tricky thing. I think dogs are perfect for retired people. I think dogs are perfect for
Families or people that work from home,
Yeah, I
people
think
that
it's a lot to take into consideration.
can make their own
Because,
schedules.
yeah, if your dog
Yeah.
is gonna be home like all day every
Alone.
day,
Yeah.
like that's
It's
not.
not.
It's just
And also consider the breed that you're getting with the space you
live
have
in.
available to you.
That's a whole other
Yeah.
thing too.
Yeah.
If you're living in an apartment,
Don't get a larger
don't get
dog.
a Great Dane.
Yeah.
We have someone in our apartments who has a motherfucking Great Dane. If you don't know what a freaking Great Dane is, go look that shit up. She has a big ass Great Dane that's bigger than her in this small ass apartment, in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
Like, we
feel bad for the dog because
Yeah.
again, dogs need a lot of space and especially if they're
Yeah.
big dogs. And so just be considerate of all those factors, and we get it. Not everybody has the means and access to having a big space. That's a given,
Yeah.
but it's like just think about it. And I know
Don't
circumstances
be
can change.
selfish. I
Yeah.
think obviously, yeah, like if things can change, like she said, like
Mm-hmm.
you can lose something in 1 second. If you already have
Yeah.
your dog, that's a different scenario. But I think if you're living in this space and you're selfish and you choose to get a huge
Yeah.
ass dog, like
Yeah.
just think about it as a bigger picture.
Mhm.
Think about it how your dog's gonna suffer. Think about how you're gonna suffer. If
Yeah.
you have carpet in your house, if you have just different stuff to consider.
It's just a lot to consider. And all in all, there's also a bunch of dogs you can adopt, and that's also a thing.
You can adopt a dog for a day, or I think you can go to shelters and like take dogs for a walk, like take dogs on like field trips. So
Okay, so
if you want to even test out if you want a dog, you can do that.
I heard that, okay, when I first heard that concept of like, oh, you can actually walk dogs, you can go to any shelter and walk a dog. And I'm like, that is so cute, like that's a good idea. But then someone explained to me that that's actually not good and healthy for the dogs because then they get their hopes up and you're not going to come back.
That's so sad.
And that is so sad.
I guess
That broke
never
my
mind.
heart.
Don't do that shit.
So it's like, there's a pro and con to everything. So just be a good person. Like, really.
Yeah.
Like, don't neglect your dog. Think about it before you get it. Emotional support animals are a real thing. They're highly effective. I've seen it personally, professionally.
Hey,
but I also
is mine.
Yes, but I've also seen people take advantage of this and misuse it. And this letter truly shows how this is also something that's being done, right? So, yeah.
That I think
So
is going to
that was-
wrap it up for
yeah.
this week's episode.
Of Reddit.
We hope you guys liked all the stories today. Let us know what you think about each story. We really enjoyed like reading these stories out. They were pretty interesting. So yeah. That was gonna be it for this week. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're watching, if you're listening, we really appreciate it. Go ahead and give us a like, follow. That really helps us.
Yeah.
And
as a reminder, we are now on YouTube. So please subscribe, leave a nice comment.
What we look like.
Yeah.
If you don't follow us on social media.
Okay, guys. Well, take care, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.